Hello, Internet! I know you might be thinking this movie isn't worth your time, nor this podcast. Some of you might be thinking, those SJWs and their feminazi agenda will poison the Internet and my freedom of speech. Well, let it be known that we have no intention of taking anything away from you. And we're not going to tell you how to think. That's just not how we roll. But we will ask you to hear us out, and maybe even listen to a few good jokes. Or bad jokes. It's a bit of both. I'm not going to lie. Some of them are pretty bad. But if you like any of this, consider going to patreon.com/evacstation. For less than the cost of apologizing to that woman you mansplained what feminism is the other day, you can support our show and maybe learn a thing or two. Again, that's patreon.com/evacstation. And thanks for giving us a shot. Hello, Internet. It's that time of the week again. I'm here with a whole crew for your favorite three-way podcast.
No, wait, that's too far back.
Get set to get your game on, because it's time for a Game Bane live stream, and tonight we'll be playing...
What the hell? No, wait, this isn't right either.
Hey everyone, it's time for Party Up stream. All the dice are warmed up, and we're finishing this Dungeon of Descent, Journey into the Dark.
Nope, not this one, not at all.
Whoa, that was a little weird. Were we live for a moment back there? Oh, whatever the hell that was, welcome to the After Credits Cast, the only podcast we've done that actually matters. Forget all those other shows we did. Not important. Not at all. I am the Supreme Moseska, and with me today I have Metters Ribo. There were not a lot of good names for either of us this week, so I had to just take what I could get.
Yeah, god damn it, I'll take it. I'll take it.
So, welcome to the show, and as always, you can follow us on Tumblr, Twitter, or Facebook. You can also go to our lovely Patreon page and donate some money to us. Maybe you could help us send some better name ideas to Mar-Vell, so we can have some fun with these name puns. It's always good. And of course, you'd also go to Voice to listen to our show. That includes YouTube, Peepa, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, and even Podcast Addict, my personal favorite. So go and check those out and give us some ratings. 5 stars helps us get more viewers, which we would greatly appreciate. And if you want to contact us directly, tell us your favorite Marvel movie, or tell us why you think our SJW feminist agenda is going to poison your internets, Ryan, where can they send that email to?
They can send that email to Philip, son of Scroll at, that is evacstation@gmail.com.
Scrollson, huh? I like that. As always, with our first segment of the show, we will begin with What You Watchin'? Ryan, what have you been watching?
Well, with all of my work and just kind of running around, I haven't gotten a chance to really watch anything like new. I've mostly been trying to catch up on the latest season of Venture Bros with Allegra. We actually just finished up season 6, and I just got the entirety of season 7, so we're looking to jump into that because it's pretty damn goofy. Anybody who knows Venture Bros, you'll know that voice that was done in the Patreon read was a dead ringer for St. Cloud, and Aaron hasn't watched Venture Bros, so bug him to go see that, because it's hilarious, actually, how uncanny he did it.
I'll have to check this clip out when we're done here, but like I told Ryan, I was kind of picturing in my head the character from Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, Tristan Taylor, the parody version, and I definitely think that Martin, who does the show, I think he watches a lot of the Adult Swim shows like Aqua Teen, Hunger Force, Venture Brothers. I imagine that inspired that voice too, so it would not surprise me at all.
Yeah.
From my What You Watchin'. So, as you may have remembered from a few months back, I finished RWBY Season 6, and just this past week for us, Red vs. Blue started. But in between these two shows, Rooster Teeth has unleashed a new animated series, Ryan. So I gave it a look. It's only 8 episodes, so if you want to check it out, you have to be a first member, I believe. but it's called Gen Lock. It is their take on the mech anime brand, basically. And it's interesting. So the concept is you follow these 5 characters, essentially. And how the mechs work is they don't pilot them traditionally. There's no cockpit. Instead, you know those machines in Avatar? The James Cameron Avatar, where you could link yourself up to a body or something? It's kind of how this works, too. You get yourself in like a pod, and you link yourself up to this network which puts your consciousness in the machine.
So it's all kind of a play on Gundam, is that it?
And they do some interesting stuff with it. It's not my favorite animated show they've done. I still think that Red vs. Blue is a classic for me that'll never be toppled. Camp Camp's also really good. So is Ruby's still great. They've gotten way better this last season. But as far as the premiere season goes, it's all right. I think what throws me off is the voice cast. They're not bad by any means, but it's so many people who are not part of the Rooster Teeth usual roster that throws me off from what I'm actually watching. It feels like a normal anime show to me. The cast includes people like Michael B. Jordan, David Tennant, the girl who plays Arya Stark. Yep.
What?
They have a Japanese voice actor from Cowboy Bebop as one of the actors.
Where did they get this?
The first episode is available if you want to see it for free on their website as well as YouTube. But if you want to watch the rest of them, you have to be a first member. So if you want to check it out, I highly recommend at least the first episode. See if you like it. The action is still right where it needs to be for an animated show from Rooster Teeth. I mean, they did Ruby, and God, they made the action scenes great for multiple seasons there too. So definitely check it out if you're interested. It's a short time investment, so you're not losing a lot of time. And if you guys watch it too, leave a message down below or email us. I want to know what you guys think, because I'm on the fence with this one. It's not great, not bad. I'm waiting to see if they do more with it, see where it goes, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I definitely might give that a watch. All right.
Speaking of giving things a watch, Ryan, let's talk about this week's movie. The countdown is ticking, and you know what that means. It's another episode in our Countdown to Infinity. Part 2. Today, we'll be covering the newly released Captain Mar-Vell from 2019 and directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. This film is still in theaters, but its opening weekend numbers, the last I looked, were 153,433,000, which is 30 million higher than the projected totals going into this weekend. Yeah, that's impressive.
Very impressive.
Worldwide, it stands currently at 456,718,000. Rotten Tomato scores be damned.
Yeah, fuck you guys. Seriously. Oh my god. Sorry.
We will get into the politics of that whole bunch of shit later. There's a lot of stuff I want to bring up about that. The cast includes Jamon Hansu. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, mostly.
Okay. Gemma Chan, Clark Gregg, not Greg Clark, what am I thinking? Lashana Lynch, Annette Bening, Jude Law, Ben Mendelsohn, there's no T in there, what am I doing? Samuel L. Jackson, and our Oscar-winning leading lady herself, Brie Larson.
No, try again.
What?
Try again.
Was it not Brie Larson?
It was not Brie Larson.
Oh right, no, they thought she was a Cree. It's Brie Larson. What am I thinking? Spoilers. Anyway, speaking of awards, the film has already won 4 COLA awards, which stands for the location awards. I'd never heard of them until now, but they won them. These awards include location manager and location team manager for a studio feature film, and an assistant location manager and location team for a... I don't know what the difference is there. I honestly don't. With that in mind, why don't we turn over to Ryan at the Fun Facts Science Corner.
All right. Well, we got 3 Kree facts for you. Damn you. We have 3 fun facts for you today. Brie Larson is actually allergic to cats, so her scenes involving Goose were actually filmed with a puppet or a computer-generated VFX, which I could tell in some scenes, but it still wasn't bad, in all honesty. Mm-hmm. Like, the CGI cat in space was perfect.
Better than what I would have expected.
Yeah, definitely better than what I would have expected. Now, when Talos actually confronts Carol and Nick in Louisiana, he sips from a fast food drink container. It is the exact same design as the cup that Jules Winfield, played by Sam Jackson, sips in the scene in Pulp Fiction, 1994, where they steal the briefcase. Do you mind if I have some of your tasty beverage to wash this down? God, it's a classic scene. I love that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Last but not least, when Brie Larson's casting was announced at Comic-Con, CNN ran the headline, "Shazam! Brie Larson is Captain Marvel," apparently not realizing that they were thinking of the wrong Captain Marvel.
I want to just make a quick tangent here. Quick tangent. So there's a lot of history between the whole Captain Marvel, Fawcett Comics, DC, Marvel, Captain Marvel thing. And I could go into it here, but that would take 5 to 10 minutes. I don't want to derail us more than we have to. If you guys want to check it out, look up the YouTuber / escapist writer Bob Chipman, or Movie Bob as he goes by sometimes. He actually has a couple videos that dive into the subject of the strange history of both Captain Marvel and, well, Captain Marvel. And it's actually very fascinating on both accounts. And I would highly recommend looking for those because it's just a good time just to see all this weird comic bullshit that you don't need to know, but you'll never unknow it once you watch them. just good stuff.
Comic politics are fun. It's actually pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. Let's get some initial thoughts going here real quick. Ryan, what are your initial thoughts going to this movie?
All right. Spoiler-free initial thoughts. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really fun movie. I thought it was very well done. I think that I didn't like it as much as I thought I would have, but I don't think it's because the movie was bad. I think it wasn't made for me in particular. And I'll get deeper into that later. Overall, I think it's a really, really good movie, but I think it's targeted to certain audiences. So yeah.
Okay, consider this my spoiler-free review for like a line or two here real quick, and then if you guys don't want to see any spoilers or don't want to hear any spoilers, feel free to stop there. But if you want to actually get into it, because I know this just kind of came out recently, feel free to continue forward. To me, it's on the same kind of level or spectrum as Iron Man or Captain America or the other origin films. It's still good, but I think the pacing might be a smidge off. The action scenes and effects are pretty cool still, and it's a fun time. I don't think that it's going to blow you away by any means, because I think they need to give Captain Marvel more legs to grow with. They need to have her get another movie and kind of really test the character in different situations. I think getting her an origin is good, and I think that you shouldn't listen to the haters online. Just give it a look if you're interested, and if you're not, check it out on DVD or something. But it does tie into the MCU in the next movie, so if that's important to you, probably give it a look.
If you want to see a woman just be badass, go see this movie. No doubt. Mm-hmm. Just mm-hmm. It's real good. It's like with all of they're not even criticisms that I have, but with all the things that didn't really hit for me, when she just starts tearing off and goes full binary, it's real good.
I'll admit when she hits Kaioken ×4, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Speaking of impressive, let's get into the synopsis here. And before we get into it, I just want to let everyone know, I kind of wrote this last minute. I mean, not like a minute ago, but since we just watched the movie and had to turn around on this one, it probably won't be as packed with the fun humor and jokes that it usually gets because, quick turnaround. But I tried. Here we go.
Generic 90s grunge song. Everyone in Flanders. Generic 90s grunge song. Something from the...
So back in the 90s, a Kree soldier known as Veers crashed on Earth after an attempt to root out some Skrulls. You see, there's a war between two alien races. That's kind of the backdrop of the story, but plays only a little bit into the actual direct plot. The Skrulls she found, captured her, and dug around in her blonde coconut for some information, finding an Earthican scientist in her memories they need. But Veers breaks out of her bondage and crashes into Earth, along with a few of her Skrull captors. She meets Nick Fury, we're just going to call him Fury, and his newbie partner, Phil Coulson, as they attempt to ask her who she is and what she's doing there. Standard, FBI/government questions. Before fully cooperating, Skrulls attack. A chase scene happens involving another train fight. I mean, it's cool. but Archer kind of proved that these are impractical guys, so come on. S.H.I.E.L.D. apprehends the body of the Skrull she beats down, and Fury makes it his mission to find her and get answers. His boss, of course, is a Skrull. We'll come back to that later. Fury finds Veers and agrees to work with her to get more information on the Skrulls, while secretly trying to get intel on her for his boss, who is also secretly a Skrull. If you're struggling to keep up, well, I don't blame you. They're everywhere. They go to find the secret airbase the scientist and her memories worked at. They find her secret plans for a failed FTL project and a cute little cat. Fury calls in his not real boss, and the duo fight through a Skrull and some duped S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. The files they find lead Veers and Fury to the last known operative to see Dr. Lawson alive, Monica Rambeau. By the way, Lawson, I'm gonna mix those up, just so you know. She also knew Veers from her previous life, because we discover she isn't really a Kree after all. Shocker there. And her whole life with the Kree so far has been a lie. Aliens we'd see before as villains are also villains here too. But as a surprise twist, the Skrulls also approach Veers, aka Carol Danvers, with evidence of this former life and how she became a Kree, sort of, in the first place. Her Kree commander killed Lawson, her real name Mar-Vell, in an attempt to steal the FTL engine core. But she blew it up, Danvers, which gave Carol her powers. Oh, and the Skrulls, they're actually good guys the whole time. No idea. Total surprise. So Carol, Monica, Fury, and the cat and the Skrull take a ship from the airbase and fly up to Mar-Vell's secret lab to get the FTL power core. And wouldn't you know, it's the Tesseract. That old thing.
Dun, dun,
How'd that get here? Also, Skrulls refugees are there too, just in time to be taken prisoner by Carol's Kree commander, Jude Law. I don't remember his name. Demanding answers and hooking her up to the hive mind Supreme Intelligence for some more brainwashing. Gotta cleanse them gray matters. But Carol resists. Fighting happens, and as Carol's boss calls for his boss, Ronan the Accuser, to blow up Earth because we need to escalate things for the final conflict, after all. The cat is revealed to be an eldritch horror, and Carol beats them all with ease now that she's unlocked her Super Saiyan final form.
Seriously, she is fucking Super Saiyan.
She then agrees to help the Skrulls find a new home away from the Kree War. But she gives Fury a way to contact her, as you might remember from the end of Infinity War. So if she is needed again, she can come back. But only if it's an emergency, damn it. Only then. Now, I don't care if Loki's invading. I don't care if a robot goes crazy. I don't even care if all your heroes are fighting each other. Emergencies only. We get a post-credits tease showing Carol in Endgame answering Fury's call sometime later. We don't know when. I assume about 6 months. $5 says she fights the Avengers when she first arrives because that's how these things kind of go down. End of movie.
I doubt that because she'll just blow them all away without trying.
Well, no,
She's too powerful.
So I think she'll tussle with them. Cause here's the thing: she's got a personality that's really like scrappy and ready to fight. So I think she'll definitely like jump in and like throw a few punches. But I think when she hits Cap's shield and kind of has a dead stop for a minute, he'll like say, "Listen to me. We are not your enemy. And then that's when those things will simmer down. I think that's how it's going to go down.
Maybe.
Imagine she throws the first punch and hulks out and's like, I want to fight you. I need to get back into this. Just for like a 2-minute tussle. That could be kind of cool.
Right. That could be fun.
So yeah, Ryan, that's the movie. What do you think? I know you had a little bit of thoughts you brought up ahead of time, so let's jump into that real quick if you want.
Oh, okay. So I really had fun with this movie. I had a lot of fun with this movie. What I think, though, and this is me still processing my thoughts on it. This is by no means an authoritative stance, but I think the movie is more. It's more focused on strong female protagonists who are strong and female, as opposed to just a strong protagonist who happens to be female. I find myself comparing it to Wonder Woman a lot because, I mean, of course, Wonder Woman, you're gonna have the Captain Marvel Wonder Woman comparisons done by fucking every film critic that's known to man and women. But I think where it's different is that Wonder Woman is a really, really good story that shows an incredibly strong protagonist who just so happens to be female, whereas Captain Marvel, they show the strength in her femininity. They show her constantly failing, but always getting up and always being so scrappy and being so strong that when she finally breaks free of the indoctrination of the system that she's been raised to believe is good, she can do anything. So I at the risk of sounding like I'm mansplaining, Jesus Christ. No, but I definitely see her as more of a feminist icon, an intentional feminist icon, than Wonder Woman. So I think I didn't enjoy this movie as much as Wonder Woman because Wonder Woman's story was kind of accessible for everybody, like more accessible for everybody. And you can absolutely enjoy Captain Marvel as a great movie without being female or identifying as female. But for females, I would argue it definitely hits home and is a fucking home run for them in particular, because this movie is made for them to put themselves in Carol Danvers' boots. Do you see what I'm saying?
I feel you. I kind of disagree though, and I'll yeah.
Please.
I don't feel like the overly feminist tones are necessarily in this movie. I feel like there's definitely a push for more of the whole, getting back up and not giving up and all that stuff. But I don't think that's necessarily an exclusively female-focused message. I mean, it feels like that here because of the fact the main character and a lot of the central figures are female, sure. But I don't feel like that is necessarily exclusively a female message, and I don't necessarily get that read out of it. I will agree on the point that I will agree on the point that I do think Wonder Woman does do this better, and I think the reason is a little different for me than it is for you. My reason is because in this movie, there's a line that Cat Marvel drops, which is along the lines of, I am a noble hero warrior. And I'm thinking about that as I go back and reflect on this movie, and a warrior for sure. She definitely is. But I'm looking through the events of the movie, and I don't necessarily get the hero and noble vibe until, the very end when she, goes to side with the Skrulls and finds them a home and everything. It takes a while. And it's a lot of pushing and pulling to get there. For Wonder Woman, she embodies the hero role almost right away. And the best point of that is when she enters No Man's Land, because she got a mission to save everybody, to go and stop the war and everything. But that moment there, she stops and drops everything because she could save these people right now without a thought, and she just jumps in and does it. And that to me is a very epic, very hero moment, hero decision moment. And I don't feel like I necessarily got that from Carol. A lot of like powerful warrior stuff, to be sure, and a lot of cool badass moments, yes, but I never felt like she was embodying that hero archetype fully yet.
Okay, I feel you. I feel you on that. I want to, damn it, okay, I want to get back to that in a second. But I also want to clarify the point that I made earlier, because I don't think like the whole scene with like her getting knocked down and getting back up is inherently female. I don't think that's not really what I was getting at. I think like a good portion of the resistance that Carol personally faces are kind of extrapolations of some of the bullshit that women face in our society currently. The idea of being indoctrinated into this system that tells you, hey, follow these rules. They're essentially like beaming these directives directly into your brain, using your subconscious thoughts, using other female role models and figures and icons to control what you do. Male superiors who teach her that she needs to not use all of her power because she needs to be in control, when really it's because he wants to maintain control of her. Her constantly like receiving all this backlash from being in the army and being in the Air Force because she's a female, and because they weren't allowing female fighter pilots, so they could only be test pilots, and they succeeded even in spite of all this opposition. Like, I'm not saying that they were heavy-handed. I'm not saying that it was overdone. I really enjoyed it. I just think that those tones were particularly put for the female audience as opposed to being all-inclusive.
Maybe. I can see where you're coming from. I personally don't think it's any. I don't think it's any more or less there than, say, the Supergirl series, which I just started, and I'll get more to that in a later podcast probably. But I feel like it's very similar to that, honestly, because I just watched the first episode, and there's some very like winky, naughty moments where it's like, oh hey, yeah, this guy's totally like mansplaining this whole thing to you. This guy's totally not believing you when you say this stuff, kind of rape victims and shit like that.
Yeah.
So it's not subtle, and I think this movie, at the very least, is a little better than that. Granted, we're comparing this to a pilot episode of Supergirl.
It is.
It's a flimsy comparison, but it's the best one I have in short notice.
Yeah, it's much better than the first season of Supergirl, like 100%. So again, like I said, like I don't mean this like for any offense. I 100% enjoyed this movie. Yeah. I loved it. I think it was a little more pointed to certain audiences. And another comparison that I could make, honestly, is Black Panther, because it was a fantastic movie that everybody could enjoy, but there were definitely points in the movie that spoke directly to the Black community that really found purchase with that particular audience. Okay. The movie as a whole was amazing, but certain audiences found a stronger foothold into it because it was speaking to them directly. I think Captain Mar-Vell does that for the female audience as well.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think I might have been misreading what you were getting at, but I think we kind of finally came full circle in this one.
I know it was a thing that we had to like get to. And I'm glad you brought it up kind of right off the bat, because that's that's the ideas that I was really like kind of gnawing on like right after I saw it. I mean, like the graphics were fantastic. I love the comedy. Young Nick Fury buddy cop movie, fantastic. Please sign me up. And the ending sequence where she fucking goes Super Saiyan and fights everyone is 100%. Like, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. But like that, like those topics about like who the movie is actually aimed at was something that I had to process for a little while, and I really enjoyed it. But I think, it's definitely.
And it reminds me of the.
It's definitely.
It reminds me of the discussion we had in Spider-Man: Homecoming, I think, where I liked it, but I did mention, I think, at the very least, that I didn't feel like the movie was aimed at us, or at least me in particular, but maybe to a younger audience. So I get what you're saying more with that. So.
Yeah.
So I mentioned the whole hero thing comparing to Wonder Woman. Did you said you wanted to come back to that at some point, or okay?
Yes, thank you so much for reminding me. I think now that, because when you brought it up, I hadn't considered it until you brought it up, but it's very interesting that both Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel deal with powerful women who are kind of they're, for lack of a better term, ignorant to the real situation around them. Like, Diana comes in to the world of men very, very naive. She's super strong, and she has these strong moral values that I think you were latching on to when you said, like, she's a hero. But her whole journey was really holding on to that moral fiber while also getting into the moral grayness that is real life. And I thought that was a really compelling story. I think Carol Danvers has a similar story in this one, as she's slowly clued into the fact that she's fighting an unjust war. I think and you really get to see her be heroic when she realizes exactly who she needs to fight for, and when she gets fucking fully powered and can really be the defender that she wants to be. I think the difference is, like you mentioned, that strong moral fiber, like that moral core to her character, isn't really showcased until the third act, where she's like, oh my god, these poor refugees, I need to get them to safety.
And I think that's, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a failing, but I think it's a shortcoming, because I feel like even though they erased her memories of who she was, I still feel like that core morality would still be present. I think she would still know right from wrong, and I feel like she'd be
right.
I feel like there'd be some presence of it earlier in the film, and I don't feel like we got that. I feel like we just got a soldier who was just trying to get home, and that's fine. That makes sense, but
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like this movie is juggling a lot of, and think that there's just so many ideas at once that we don't really get to sit with Carol for more than a minute and really dive into her character a bunch. I think that she really comes alive when she Sam Jackson and whatnot, but outside of that, though, I feel like we're going to need another movie to really dive deep into who she is.
I don't know. I think they did a good character. Like, I think they did a good job showing the various parts of her character. I think she's just a different character than Wonder Woman. I think, like, the core of Wonder Woman's, like, personality is that strong moral, like upbringing, and, like, standing for what's right. And when you see injustice in the world, you fucking stomp it out. I think Carol's core, in particular, is really a strong sense of self. I think she's cocky. I think she's really sure of herself and has a very strong sense of self. But that the morality bit of it isn't as front and center in her personality, which is where she differs from Wonder Woman. I think she has a strong drive to challenge herself and to really do the best that she can in whatever field she's going for. And as an indoctrinated soldier that's constantly being, like, fucking beamed broadcasts, like, into her subconscious to go do this shit and comply, or what was given to you will be taken away from you bullshit. I think they did a good job in showcasing her story. I just don't think she's not like Captain America, who has that at his core. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no. I wasn't trying to insinuate that I wasn't trying to insinuate necessarily that she would have like equal morals to Captain America or Wonder Woman, but I feel like it's more based on the structure of the film is where I'm kind of getting at a little bit, where we're going back and forth throughout her memories and kind of trying to figure out who she is. I think the amnesia trope that you see in various things, and including here, obviously, I think it really makes it difficult to fully flesh out a character until the very last minute. And so you really don't get the full Carol Danvers persona and experience until the third act, not even all the way into it. Like, you have to get a little ways to do it before it's all there. And I feel like it's a failing, not on the character herself, but more just on the structure. But I get it, though. They wanted to take a different approach to the origin story, and I think it's an interesting way to do it.
Me too.
For sure.
Yeah, I 100% love the jumbled memory device. It takes something that could have been just really boring exposition, and it does something really interesting with it. I saw it coming since like the first big trailer that they gave with all of like the intersplicing of her memories, and I was like, oh shit, if they actually like go for something like that, that could be really, really well done. And lo and behold, it was really, really well done.
But like I said, I think that trope does lead to weaker, not necessarily weaker characterization, but messier characterization to start with. And I think that's kind of what I was getting at. I think a sequel where it's more linear and more focused on her next big objective, her next big goal, her next big hurdle, I think that'll be where we can finally get a real, fully fleshed out Carol Danvers and really understand who she is, what she wants, and where she's going to go from here.
That makes sense. That's a fair point. That is a fair point.
So anyway, we got a little tangential there for a minute, but we're gonna laser focus this back in because I got a couple questions here, Ryan. This first one I have. So we did a movie called Room showing Brie Larson's Oscar-winning performance. So in this film, how do you think she did? Good, bad, thoughts? What do you settle on this one?
I like her. I think Carol Danvers is more closer. Wow, Jesus Christ, man.
English.
I think Carol's personality is closer to Brie Larson in real life, with the kind of sardonic millennial humor that goes with it, and I love it. I think she did it very naturally. There are some people that say she has zero charisma, and it's like she's not like Tony Stark levels, but I think it definitely fits for her and for the person that we see her to be. I would love to see more streamlined Carol Danvers before she became Captain Marvel, because she looks like she's like a wild child that gives zero fucks about what anybody says. And I think that would be really cool to see. But I think in this movie, you see that kind of muted a little bit, because while she does still have that, she's a soldier, she's fucking in an intergalactic war with like spooky ass photon powers that are here to hunt some Skrulls. So yeah, I'd love to see more of that in the sequel. But yeah, I think she did a great job.
I think she did too. A lot of people, yeah, you're right. They said that there was no charisma there, and I think a lot of that's based on various interviews she's had. Because a few of them she does come off as a little bit standoffish, but from what I've read, I think we even talked about it when we were reading about Room and how she's a self-proclaimed introvert. Maybe just these interview shows and stuff don't really fit her usual jam. I mean, I know that not Jeff Goldblum, but Johnny Depp and a few other actors who I've read about, they aren't really. Leonardo DiCaprio is one of them too. They aren't really big on the talk show, live show, questions, answers, interviews kind of stuff. So she kind of probably falls into that boat more than anything, I'd imagine.
I could definitely imagine that too. I mean, I have introverted tendencies, and I know some like for real introverts who are just like really a lot of fun and outgoing when they're in their comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And when they're not, they're internal, they're stoic, they're just watching everything, trying to process everything. So it would not surprise me if that was the case. I mean, the biggest one that comes to mind for me is Chris Evans, because Chris Evans is very much an introvert, and he uses acting to kind of get out of that and force himself out of his comfort zone. So like you see that Chris Evans, when he's out like and kind of performing for like reporters and whatnot, he can have such a big personality, but he's often gone on record saying that he's a very quiet and reserved person when it's just him. So yeah, I can see that.
So that's kind of what I'm thinking is what it is, and I think that's a lot. I think her standoffish nature and probably some quotes she said that were misconstrued or misinterpreted by those MRA assholes online.
Haters.
Yep.
Haters.
I imagine a lot of that is what caused a lot of the various controversy surrounding Rotten Tomatoes and the reviews bombing and just all of this like anti-Captain Marvel, anti-Brie Larson agenda, whatever it is. It happened like overnight too. Like it was just a sudden like anti-this thing that just popped out of nowhere. And I found it on like Facebook once, and then I saw an article for it. I'm like, where did this hate for this movie come from? It's not even out yet. But why is everyone suddenly against this movie? It's weird.
Yeah, like I've seen so many YouTube videos pop up, like saying, like feminism is gonna ruin the MCU, and I'm like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Stop.
Well, it's funny too because everyone's like, they're gonna put SJ. Sorry, let me get the voice going. They're gonna put SJW content in my MCU films, and I don't like it. But.
Why must you politicize all of the things that we use to escape from reality?
But consider the fact that Iron Man starts off as an anti-war, anti-weapon movie. Consider that Black Panther has a lot of racially charged comments in its movie. Consider that there's another one. Consider the universal connection and spiritualist ideas behind Doctor Strange. Consider everything in the Captain America movies. SJW content, political stuff, it is in these films already. This film is not the first one to do it, and I guarantee you it will not be the last. But they are definitely not in your face about it in most of these. They're definitely not trying to force these subtopics on you. They're just part of the mythos. They're just part of the story. They're part of the characters in the world. And part of real life, guys. It's just what it is.
Yeah, I think what it is that some people just don't want to deal with the issues that it brings up, and so they feel like dealing and navigating with feminism is such a struggle for them that they don't want it in the things that they want to just come and enjoy. But like art is used to comment on the human condition. It's not all just mindless popcorn, and people who make movies, they don't just do it for money. Most of them.
Well, unless you're Uwe Boll.
Yeah. How dare you defile this podcast with that man's name?
He's such a fuckwad.
He's such a fuckwad. But a lot of people, like actors, the people who make movies, they are artists. They're not all of them are just in it for money. They're doing it because they want to express something. They want to express things about how they feel, about where society is, about what life is, about the human condition in general. And for people to get upset because a prominent movie is using its position to put forth a platform of equality and of, women just getting the fucking spotlight and being able to be badass, like, how petty can you get to talk shit about a movie simply because, its lead is espousing feminist virtues of just equality and equal chance for other people.
But Ryan,
just a movie that's not all about men or white men. Like, what the fuck?
But Ryan, the feminazis want to take away my ability to enjoy men's stuff. I can't allow this.
Oh my god. Point to me one part of the movie where Carol Danvers stops men from enjoying something that's just purely fun. The only people she really shuts down are people that are doing horrible shit or just openly fucking sexist.
Oh no,
If these things, like I know you don't believe it. Right now I'm talking to the haters. But if you believe that this type of content is infringing on your enjoyment, it's quite possible that the things you enjoy are inherently shitty to other people. In which case, you should probably reevaluate your shit. All right, I'm off my soapbox.
I just want to add real quick before we move on. People seem to conflate the word feminism with like horrible shit. I think a lot of people are used to referring to feminists as people who want to take away fun, and I understand where that comes from, but I vastly disagree with it because there are discussion points made by uber feminists because there's a spectrum of feminism, obviously.
Absolutely, there's extremists on all sides, of course.
Yep, in every belief, creed, religion, race, concept, idea, whatever, there's always extreme ends to everything, and the extremes hurt everything. I won't argue that one. But in the case of feminism, there are extremists in that field who, they don't want equality, they want to take over, essentially. And while that voice while the number of people who are in that camp might not be big, they are loud voices, and of course, MRA assholes have clung to that stuff, thinking that is what all feminism is. Kind of like how a lot of people think all Muslims are terrorists, or how all African-American guys are criminals. I mean, not saying that it's the case, but these are stereotypes based on stupid beliefs that come up because one instance happens, or a few instances within succession happens, forming a quote-unquote pattern or correlation to these people who can't just read the facts. They can't look at all the information. So basically what I'm saying to everybody who's listening who may be disagreeing with us, you're fine to disagree with us if you want, but feminism is not bad. It is about equality, and that's all it is. Anything beyond that is not true feminism. It is something else. Kind of like how terrorism is not what everyone's all about, but there are people who are living in those parts of the world where terrorist stuff happens all the time that generally want good things, and they are generally good people, but they get kind of obscured with all the other bullshit going on. It's an extreme example, I know, but it's the first one I come up with on short notice. So.
Kind of like how the KKK isn't indicative of all of Christian beliefs.
There you go. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's my go-to one. I also just kind of want to piggyback on that, damn it. I'm sorry, we're like going super far on it. But the idea of like feminists wanting to take away fun, or of like wanting to get rid of practices that are so ingrained and like so fun for us, like a lot of the times it's because those practices, those things are inherently harmful to other groups. So while people have fun with them, it hurts others. And I think the idea behind it is re-examining those things that we grew up with, and not keeping them around simply because we've been doing them since they were little. If they're hurting people, we should probably take a look at it and say, we can do better than this. So I think that's a huge part of it as well.
Basically, we're not asking you to change, but be open to conversations and be open to the idea of change. That's all we're asking. I would think. So we've been on the soapbox for a while, Ryan. I'm going to lightning round a few of these questions here real quick.
Let's do it!
Scrolls, do you like how they did them in this movie?
I do. The overall tone of this movie was a little more lighthearted than what I think of when I think of Skrulls, because like the insidious nature of people that you can't even trust, who can read thoughts and even mimic somebody's DNA, like that's spooky shit. And they made the Skrulls more lighthearted, more fun. I'm looking at you. This is my science guy. But yeah, no. I like at the end of the day, I like how they did it. I would be interested in the future in seeing a more serious Skrull movie.
I feel like they may have made him a little too empathetic near the end with all the refugees. I think just like his family would have been enough, but I think they definitely swung in a really opposite direction from what Skrulls really are. And I'm not opposed to that, but I would like to see... I'm hoping this is just like a one-off instance, and I hope that when they bring Skrulls back in the future, because I'm really hoping they do, that they actually go full hog with, hey, these Skrulls are back, and they're assholes now, because the Krees and the Skrulls are all bad, all good. It's a war, guys. Both sides can be good and bad.
Yeah. they had one throwaway line where like the Ben Mendelsohn's character like got reunited with his family, and Carol went up to him and said, "I'm so sorry," and he said, "Look, it's war. My hands are just as filthy as yours." And it was just that one line, and then
it's
he said,
on point.
But now, like it was a great line, and then it was kind of glossed over. It's like, but now is what matters, and we're doing the right thing.
They should have lingered on it for a little bit.
That's cool, but I also kind of want to talk about that dirty stuff that the Skrulls were getting into as well, because that's really interesting. I mean, we explored the hell out of that in Winter Soldier.
Kalos, are you telling me that you are doing a secret invasion? I mean, I'm all ready for it. Come on, bring it on.
I'm honestly waiting for the reveal that Nick Fury is actually Talos, and that Nick actually died like a while ago.
Oh, so you've seen that theory?
Yeah.
let's jump to that real quick. I had other stuff.
That would be real good. That would be a real good twist.
So Ryan, that ties into my next question here. Thoughts on Nick Fury? There are also theories online suggesting he may be a Skrull based on changes in behavior between this and Age of Ultron. What are your overall thoughts?
Overall, I doubt it. And the main thing that causes me to doubt it is the fact that Talos got reunited with his family and they all left to go find a new home. So unless something went horribly wrong and then Talos came back without Carol, I strongly doubt that that's the case.
I still think General Ross has a chance to be a Skrull.
Maybe
100% certain. 100% certain.
Yeah. That would be very interesting. That would be very interesting.
Because as we've established, both sides of a war can still have bad people, and I can imagine there's some bad Skrulls doing some nasty shit down on Earth. I'm hoping to see that soon.
And he puts forth the idea of the Sokovia Accord so that he can get a handle on the planet's defenders while he initiates the secret invasion. Oh shit! Oh, write that, guys.
Dude, I've been called that since Civil War. I'm like, man, why would you bring him back if he's not going to be a fucking Skrull? Ryan, what are your thoughts on the streamlined origin of Captain Mar-Vell? I don't know if you know the original origin that much, but they've streamlined it down quite a bit.
Yeah, they definitely streamlined and redesigned it. I honestly love it. I think it's very simplistic. Simplistic, but not in a negative way. Like there's some good stuff to be said about simplicity. They gave you a very strong character who has a really strong sense of self and is really fucking capable, being heroic. And in doing so, and trying to keep technology out of the hands of, like, terrible people, she got imbued with powers. And she essentially has the power of a star in her chest. So that's really cool. That's honestly all you need. You don't need to bog down in, oh, well, Captain Mar-Vell is actually half human, half Kree, who did this, that, and the other, and yeah. No,
considering her original origin story required a whole other character named Mar-Vell to infect her with this radioactive energies, and then he was, like, never a popular character, so there's a lot of stuff they had to trim away, and I think they trimmed her away just enough to make it worthwhile. So yeah, good on you guys, Marvel. I figured this wouldn't be hard. You guys made Guardians of the Galaxy workable. So this shouldn't have been a challenge at all for you guys at all, really.
Yeah, I also really like the fact that they gender swapped Mar-Vell. Like the fact that Mar-Vell is not well known
or popular,
and that they got a really badass actress, like an old school actress to play her and kind of give her that gravitas. I think it was a very, very well done move, especially to have this person who is, like, in her subconscious and is a very important, like, role model in her life, be female. I think it really keeps with the overall tone of the movie. It wouldn't have made sense to, like, have her, like, the person that she looked up to most in this world be a male.
Mm-hmm.
I think I like it. I like the gender swap. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Were you surprised at all that the Kree were manipulating Carol? I wasn't.
No! The Kree are assholes, guys.
Again,
if you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know.
I refer you guys again to our number 2 ranked movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, where the Kree were the bad guys. Sorry, a Kree was a bad guy, but still.
Yeah. And they were like, no, Ronan was just a rogue of his race and da-da-da-da-da.
Sure he was. What else we got here? Okay, so here's a gripe I have a little bit.
Okay.
So while the third act is absolutely a lot of fun, I do feel like Carol's power levels go to a fucking insane level. Is there any way you'd redo that final battle, or would you keep it exactly as it is?
I would keep it the same.
Really?
100%
Really?
same. Yes, sir. Because seeing her go Super Saiyan was the greatest goddamn feeling. I mean, Captain Mar-Vell is supposed to be the most powerful Avenger. Like, straight up. Like they've been billing her as the person who's gonna come in and pretty much change the tide of the war against Thanos. So having her, like, it makes sense the way they did it, having her powered down for the majority of the movie because she had a fucking limiter on. But, like, when you think of exactly how powerful Mar-Vell is, shit, man. Like, she needed to flex. She needed to fucking go up against a fucking battalion of Kree, like, warships and tear through them physically just for the fuck of it. Mm-hmm. And what I can't wait for is to now, because we just saw her tear these people up as she was just discovering the true, like, depth of her power. 20 years later, with all the practice therein, we're gonna see her fuck some shit up in Endgame. Because now she's got all this power, and now she knows how to use it. I'm pretty sure she fucking teleported when they called.
I'll say we didn't even see her absorb any, like, energy blasts yet. That's another staple of her, like, power set. So I'm looking forward to seeing when they show that for the first time, too.
Yeah. I think she's, like, she might just square up on Thanos and be like, let's go. Come on.
I feel like Hulk's going to feel a little emasculated when that happens.
Well, I mean, Hulk's going to be a whole can of worms. I can't wait to see how we actually pull that dude out.
Mm-hmm. Where was I going to go with that? No, so for the ending for me, I definitely feel like they may have turned her to 11 a little too quick. And I'm not saying I don't like her being this badass super warrior, but, like, you see this happen, and it raises 2 questions in my mind. One, did the guys on the Kree ship stand even a remote chance at any point? Nope. Obviously, no. And then 2, does Thanos really pose a threat anymore? Now, obviously he does. He's got the Infinity Stones, and he's not, like, a pushover. He actually will be a challenge, but still, like, you see what Carol's doing, tearing through ships that the Guardians and the fucking Nova Corps struggle to even scratch. You see her throw a missile at 40 other missiles. And you're just sitting here like...
I forgot about that.
You're sitting here and you're like, is anything really a threat to her? Kind of like the same question I gave when we talked about Man of Steel not long ago. And I don't think she's as powerful as Superman, obviously. That's a whole nother fucking power level to discuss there, too. No, seriously. I've seen comparisons, and she is maybe on par with the Dragon Ball characters, but Superman is on another level from all of them. So I can't necessarily say she would hand it to him.
Alright, that's fair. But to be fair, the fight against Thanos in Infinity War on Titan stepped up the superhero fight game to, like, 15. Like, when you see Iron Man pulling out all the stops, and you see Doc Strange going toe-to-toe with, like, every manner of sorcery that he can pull out, and you see all the team combinations, and you've got Thanos throwing fucking moons at people for the fuck of it, you know, it's just like I don't think that she's the auto win button, but having somebody at that level that can work in coordination with all the fucking super powerful people that we have on the Avengers, I think she'll definitely make a difference. She won't single-handedly wipe the floor with him, of course not. But she's the biggest fucking hammer we got right now, and like working in combination with everybody, that's going to be the key.
Mm-hmm. What else we got here? I want to make sure I'm not going too long, but I also want to make sure I hit every point on point. So I'll skip that one. Okay, I guess that ties into our last question here, our last couple questions here then. What do you think Carol will bring into the table in Endgame? What do you see happening with her character once Endgame starts?
Well, yeah, she is the big gun. I think she is the big gun. I think the ridiculously high power level that she brings to the table, along with the amount of powers that she brings to the table, like aside from just the photon blast and the flight and just ridiculous amounts of strength and durability, like they'll probably get into like the energy absorption and redirection stuff that you were talking about, and we'll probably see more powers that Captain Marvel has in canon show up in the movie as well after 20 years of practice. So I think like she's gonna bring a lot to the table, but we're still gonna need like tactical input from Captain America. We're still gonna need all the esoteric knowledge that Doctor Strange is gonna bring. We're still gonna need the technological advances that Tony's gonna have under his belt. We're still gonna need subterfuge from Black Widow. We're gonna need a lot of stuff that she'll work in combination to actually fight Thanos, because he still has the fucking gauntlet. Yes, the gauntlet is broken, but he still has all of the Infinity Stones. Like,
so I want to throw something your way. So, in the movie Captain Marvel, what gives Captain Marvel her powers?
A direct beam of energy from a destroyed faster than light engine.
Yes. Now, let me take this a step further. What is the source of that energy?
The fucking Tesseract. Okay, yeah, fair. She pretty much got her powers from an Infinity Stone.
So my theory is very similar to what I was suggesting with Infinity War for Scarlet Witch, and I was not far off. I think she's going to be pivotal in countering the Infinity Stones in general, because we saw Scarlet Witch destroy an Infinity Stone. She's the only one we've seen do that so far.
Yep, very true.
I think Captain Marvel is going to be largely responsible for either removing the stones or just destroying them completely. I don't think they're going to go that far. I think they're going to remain as part of the mythos for a while, but not be as central to the plot in future films. But
it will be, like, actually, I just had an idea. It would be interesting if they had to get, essentially, different people to connect with and master each individual Infinity Stone.
Oh, like Adam Warlock and the Soul Stone.
Well, I was, like, in all honesty, I was thinking that Cap would be the Soul Stone, because if it comes down to a stone that requires sacrifice, oh, Captain, my Captain, he sacrificed so much.
I don't think it'll be that cut and dry.
I don't think so either. I just had the idea. It would be interesting if it would be poetic if they did something like that.
I think the stones will. So in the comics, the stones actually do get scattered at one point and become like actual like entities, like actual beings embodying these stones' powers. So I think that might be where we get the completion of Adam Warlock and several other characters in the MCU we have not been introduced to yet. So yeah. I think that might be a possibility lead into Phase 4, which could give us a whole other level of Phase 4 shenanigans that we would not even know about until the end of this movie.
Man, we still have to see Doc Strange become the Sorcerer Supreme. Shit, we have so much to do in Phase 4.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great time. And that's kind of it I got, unless there's any other predictions, hopes, or anything you want to see, because, Ryan, next week is Endgame. Those who are listening to this right now are watching it. We're going to be talking about it next week. So is there anything else you want to predict or add to, because we're recording this in March, so any predictions we make that are right, we can look smart for it.
Fuck, I don't even know. I predict that I will cry.
Considering this is a send-off for like 3 characters, maybe? Yeah, I don't doubt it.
My captain is going to be put to rest. I'm not going to handle it well.
I think they'll do it gracefully. I honestly hope they do the whole.
I think they will do. I think they'll do it too. I think their execution thus far has been pretty fucking spot on. I just think it's gonna be. I think it might be a Toy Story 3 moment for me, where I just I'm unexpectedly sobbing at the end. I think
I'll lose more of my bit when it comes to Iron Man. Like, I know that he's not the most favorite character for some people. Some people are anti-Iron Man for reasons, but this has been a fucking 10-year journey for his character, man. He started this, and he's about to end soon, and that's gonna be very tragic.
Yeah. Consolation, all of these actors are richer than God now.
Yep, and I am still broke as shit. But hey, you know, that's the capitalist way, you know? It's great. Fucking corporations take all the money. We're taking a weird tangent there. Let's move back to the movie here. So that's all we've got for conversation on this movie. We went a little long, but, you know, soapboxing and lightning rounds take up time. So if you want to contact us to tell us your thoughts on the feminist agenda, or if you just want to talk to us about the movie in general and actually have some fun things to talk about, you can reach us at Twitter, Tumblr, or Facebook. Links are down below, as well as our fancy dandy email. Ryan, what is that email?
That is anti-SJWs can suck my dick at Gmail. I'm sorry. That is evacstation at gmail.com.
That was uncalled for.
But accurate.
Okay, so, yeah, you can reach us all there. We have to rank this movie real quick. Ryan, we have a list up. I have a list up. Welcome back to the final segment of the episode. I completely
forgot about this again!
The list.
Oh, no.
Where we rank the movies of all the MCU, and we might change up how this goes in a bonus episode, so stay tuned for that. As a quick refresher, since we just did it last week, I won't read the whole list, but number 1 is Infinity War, and number 20 is Iron Man 3. We just ranked Ant-Man and Wasp right above Ant-Man at number 14. Ryan, where the hell are we going to put this movie?
The list. God damn. Okay.
I think I know where I want to put it, but do you want to go first? Or do you want me to?
I think I know so too.
Okay.
So, I think this movie is done fantastically well. I think it's a lot of fun. I think the action's really top notch. I love the dated like the whole nostalgia trip and the dial-up internet. It's downloading. I love that shit. I 100% do. When I look at the list, this is a strong ass list. In all honesty,
for a list that we put together together as well as had other people input, it's fairly good.
I honestly agree with a good amount of this. I agree with a lot of this. I would put it in terms of the overall standing. I would. Oh, fuck me. Did I? Ooh. I almost considered sacrilege. You want me to put it? You want me to chime in on this one, or you think you got it? I think I got it. You might be able to convince me to go one step higher, but I think I've got it. I would put this, actually, because of how well it was done and because of the important tones that it puts out for this movie and for society in general, I would put it at number 5. It would just top Guardians 2 for me personally.
That is a high mark. I was not expecting it to be that high based on how this conversation started.
Because I'm looking at everything else. I'm looking at really how much I enjoyed it. I'm looking at the importance of it and what it sets up for the end. I definitely think I was like, yeah, it's got to be top 5. It's top 5. Yeah.
See, I'm not gonna lie, Ryan. I was sort of in the zone of like 9 or 10.
Really?
It's not a shot at the movie at all, because 9 and 10 are still very fucking good spots, all the same.
They are. You're right.
But no, like, I'm thinking about it, and, like, yes, it's connected to a lot of different things, but at the same time, though, it's not as connected as Avengers. It's not as connected as Civil War. It's not as connected as Doctor Strange to an extent. And I'm looking at it comparing it to other movies, and I'm thinking, okay, what is this movie at its core? It's an origin story, so let me compare it to other origin stories. How does it hold up to Iron Man? How does it hold up to Doctor Strange? How does it hold up to Captain America? And as I said at the beginning, I do very much think that this is definitely a starter film. This is definitely getting us the taste of her character, and there's more to come. And I think that this is definitely on par with Captain America, with Iron Man, with Doctor Strange, and all that stuff. I don't think it's beyond that necessarily. And as much as this movie is trying to shoot for a feminist-focused message, I don't think it necessarily resonates as loud as Black Panther did for its community. I might be wrong.
Fair.
But I have not seen quite the verbose reaction as they've seen to Black Panther.
Okay. So would you put it above Avengers?
I don't know if I could. I think Avengers is
The benchmark.
Avengers is a defining moment in not just this series to me, but it's also a defining moment of a decade of film, because it's a movie that started not a trend necessarily, but like other studios try to get on this multimedia, multi-franchise thing, and Avengers showed that they could do it, and that's how we got our DC, that's how we got our MonsterVerse, that's how we got all this stuff. I don't think you can knock it down much further than where it is because of that resonation it has with everything.
Definitely. Okay, so I agree with you. I agree with all the points that you made, but. And I'm pretty sure I'm repeating myself from the past. I'm pretty sure I am. But while Avengers set the benchmark for like the fact that these movies can succeed and we can it's the proof of concept for the entire MCU. You know, I mean, like Iron Man really proved that comic book movies could be done and done well and make a lot of money. But Avengers really proved that you can tell multiple different stories in different movies and have them coalesce into a bigger tapestry of film. So definitely, I agree with you that it needs to be placed high. But every movie after that has to strive to go past the bar. And I think for a good amount of them, they succeed. Like how many, all of the movies above Avengers are movies that came after Avengers. They all press towards the mark and then exceed it. And I think that Captain Marvel belongs above that because it takes the things that its predecessors did really well and strives to improve on them.
I can kind of see your point there. That being said, I don't know if I could go above Winter Soldier personally.
And you know Winter Soldier is my fucking jam.
I know. But here's the thing. Captain America Winter Soldier took the original concept of Captain America and ran with it in a different direction and really just did something special with it. And I think that a sequel to Captain Marvel will do the exact same. I think Captain Marvel, the first one, is definitely setting that groundwork for it to happen. And I don't think it has the legs to outrun Winter Soldier, if you catch my drift.
I feel you. Okay. Can we meet then at 8?
I think that
between Avengers and Winter Soldier.
I think if we continue arguing, we'll be at like an hour and a half. So
yes,
I know.
I didn't expect us to like actually have this much of a debate on it. I love it.
I also wrote Captain America again. All right, so we have a new number 8, Captain Marvel, just a shot above Avengers and just a shot below Winter Soldier. We'll be maybe discussing these in more detail in a bonus episode. We will find out very soon. We can't announce it yet because obviously we're recording this well before we had it planned out. But whatever. Thank you for listening, everybody. Sorry for the long episode because there's a lot of stuff to talk about this time. It was crazy. But you got 15 extra minutes than we normally get. That's great. So thank you for listening. Tune in next week for what I'm sure will be a fucking 3-hour podcast. See you next week for Endgame, and we'll see you after the credits.